Free coffee signs always do the hard lifting for you. Huberman says he has 800 milligrams a day, so we're all sweet. But like any of these things is like getting stuck into a bad marriage. Like, yeah, you sign up with this kind of this. So for us, and I guess I'd recommend for any entrepreneurs, like find the product that works.
Welcome to Add to Cart, Australia's leading e-commerce podcast that express delivers all you need to know in the fast-moving world of online retail. Here's your host, Bushy.
Hey, it's Nathan Bush, or Bushy, joining you from the land of the Turrbal people here in Brisbane, Australia. And today I am here to ask you, what happens when two fitness fanatics look at their morning coffee and think this could be better? That's exactly what Jaryd Turkelson and his co-founder thought before launching Before You Speak. It's a Brisbane-born brand that's turned everyday coffee into a daily performance ritual. From MCT oil to collagen and turmeric, their blends have taken Australia's morning habits by storm, and they're now in over 60 countries across Ampol, Woolies, Amazon, and even the Formula One paddock. In today's chat, Jaryd takes us behind the scenes of what it takes to build a cult D2C coffee brand, including all the burnout, business misfires, and why he's doubling down on the thing that started it all: exceptional coffee that helps people feel their best. This episode is brought to you by our partners Shopify and Klaviyo. Thank you for helping e-commerce businesses scale, connect, and grow every day. So if you've ever wondered how to turn the age-old habit of coffee and turn it into a cult global brand, keep on listening. Quick heads up, and no, this is not an ad. If you're enjoying the free content that we share across the Add to Cart community, socials, and this podcast, we would love your support. Hit subscribe to help us keep bringing you the best e-commerce insights around and keep this thing running smoother than same-day fulfillment. Jaryd, welcome to Add to Cart.
Mate, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I understand that you had an early morning and you might be a few coffees deep.
Yeah, it was an early start thing. I was up at about 2:40 this morning and I've punched about 5 coffees for the day. So we're still here. We're good.
Are we talking like normal strength coffees, or are you like a heavy dose?
No, so like most of all the coffees that I'll drink will be like our own. So like the sachets are about 115 megs each. I think I had one of the cans as well, which is 160 megs. So we're up there.
You're flying.
Yeah, Huberman says he has 800 milligrams a day, so we're all sweet.
Does he? Is there a limit to how much caffeine you can have a day?
I think that's pushing it. If you start hitting a gram a day, I reckon you're peaking.
You're peaking. All right. I would hate my sleep after that. But we're here to talk all about your amazing business called Before You Speak. Do you call it Before You Speak, or is it Before You Speak Coffee?
I guess the brand's kind of Before You Speak, but it is like we're a coffee brand. So Before You Speak Coffee mostly.
That's how I found you on search. But anyway, what I love about it is that you talk about functional coffee. For those who are drinking coffee as probably their morning hit, their morning wake-up call, where does functional coffee fit into the world of coffee?
Yeah, I guess when we started the company, I guess in the early days, we started to see what was happening, not only in Australia and like the green tea space, like some of the, companies are starting to do a little bit of functional green tea. So I guess what is the functional side of things? It's adding different benefits than just having your straight coffee. So for us, we both had a background in sports nutrition supplements, and we kind of thought, well, coffee is the one habit that people don't skip.
Yeah.
So how can we kind of utilize and add in the vitamins and minerals that we all take every day anyway into our morning cuppa?
That's awesome. So talk us through that. What kind of vitamins and minerals would people expect to get out of your coffee?
Yeah, so I guess our number one seller is our performance coffee. So it has things like your MCT oil in there, which helps with your focus, turmeric, ginseng, black pepper and green coffee bean extract. We've got like a collagen coffee as well. It's got, I guess, a bunch of different ingredients, like, again, MCT oil, camu, biotin, proline, silica, like synergistic stuff that helps with kind of your hair, skin, nails. We've got like a thermo coffee, which is kind of more of a fat burner. And we've got a period coffee, and we've started to go into just like our ready-to-drink cans and stuff, which is kind of more protein and stuff. So
yeah, that's cool. And the ready-to-drink is a new category for you?
Yeah. Like we've been trying to do it for a long time. It took us about 5 years to get right, but we launched it in December. So we're just starting to see the rollout. We've just gone into Ampol. We'll be going into Caltex and stuff soon. So starting to be in fridges across Australia, which is exciting.
That's awesome. How do you find your market? Because coffee is, as you mentioned there, a well-known habit for a lot of people and probably drinking the same type of coffee for years upon years. How do you educate the market that you can actually have coffee with all these other benefits?
It's been a long road. Like we're about to. It's actually next week. It'll probably. I'm not sure when this will go live, but late July, our 8th birthday is about to kind of tick over.
Awesome.
So in the early days, having these conversations, saying functional coffee, people were like, "What the hell is that?" So it was a long process of a lot of sampling and stuff, like getting product into hands. In the early days, launching a brand when you don't have TGA breathing down your neck, you can really kind of talk about the benefits of all the different things in there. These days, not so much. It's kind of, any opportunity we got to talk to. And we'd lean into utilizing, I'm sure we'll go into this, but like working with health and fitness influencers and people that kind of had an educated market who are already kind of talking around supplements and vitamins and stuff.
Talk about those TGA regulations for those who don't have to deal with them. I'm working at the moment with a supplements company, and just making sure you're in the right areas is sometimes a grey area. What have you learnt around being compliant, but also being able to tell your story and your benefits?
Yeah, well, it's a tricky one. Like in Australia, we're extremely strict as a nation, which I guess is a good thing, but it's probably, it feels like it's almost over the top a little bit. So in the early days, we've had a few blends that had things like ashwagandha or rhodiola in there, which kind of well-known ingredients in supplements and stuff. But as soon as you put them into a beverage or a food product, they're deemed as what they're called a novel food. So the governing body for ZANS does not allow you to be selling that on shelf. Now, there is a lot on shelf. The only really way that you get pulled up these days is if a competitor will go and dob you in, and then you kind of get on their radar. So it's a bit of a snake's game, mate. But
Are you a dobber?
we try to no.
No dobbing.
Well, if someone
No
starts
dobbing.
catching us, who knows? But no, we've had Queensland Health turn up on our doorstep a couple of times, so we've had to reformulate a couple of times. But like, it's not worth trying to sneak different ingredients in. So you've just got to toe the line. Like a lot of the time, they don't tell you. They'll change ingredients. They'll put them on the banned list, or they'll put them on the novel foods list, and you just need to be keeping an eye on what those ingredients are. So
I bet you would be ahead of the authorities, though, on some of the ingredients that your customers are looking for, right?
yeah, 100%. I guess you're always looking at what trends are, and I guess where the opportunity is to, I guess, lean into when you're creating products and stuff as well. But I think these days it's like, you want to make sure you're toeing the line, because the minute that you do get pulled up, like, it's so much time and effort to get a product to market. If you then have to stop selling that or reformulate, like multiple times, it's taken us 12 months to turn that product back around to get it back on shelf.
Yeah. Are you manufacturing here in Australia?
Mostly. So all of our functional coffee blends are, so like the instant coffee infused with the superfoods in the sachets, which is the biggest part of our business. That's all done out of Melbourne. Now, we do have like our ready to drink, our iced latte cans, which we were just talking about. They're actually manufactured out of New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have, I guess, some of our other ones, like our new product lines have gone into Woolworths and stuff. They're done up in Brisbane.
Yeah, okay, cool. All over the place.
Yeah.
So talk us through those first 8 years. So started out as a D2C brand here in Brisbane, and now in over 60 countries, as I understand, and expanded into physical retail, including Ampol, which I saw was a big announcement recently, as well as on Amazon, and, stocked everywhere by the looks of it. Tell us about those early days of growth. When did you realize that you're onto something as a D2C brand?
We were always very ambitious in the early days, probably a little bit too much so, blindly. Like, I guess you have to be as a founder going into it. We only wanted to be direct to consumer when we first launched the company. And it wasn't until maybe 6 months in, we started to get those guys that were in our network from having worked in sports nutrition ask if they could kind of start to put us in their stores. And that was probably more of a cash flow decision. Things weren't moving as quick as we would have liked them to in the early days. To give some context, like our opening order of products is we ordered 10,000 30-serve boxes.
Wow. You're in.
Don't recommend that. Start small. Start small.
Why'd you make that decision?
I think we were, again, overly ambitious. It was kind of, while it was new to us in D2C, like we had a little bit of experience in the retail, and we thought, well, worst comes to worst, we could open up those channels. And we just thought those numbers would fly out the door. Wasn't really the case.
What kind of shelf life are you talking?
These products, they're fine. Like you get 2 year shelf life on it. So I think it took us 9 months to move those 10,000 boxes, a little bit longer than we would have hoped, but still we got through it, which was good. But yeah, I guess in the early days, the focus was D2C. We then opened up in those sports nutrition channels and leveraged our relationships. And we really kind of just built the brand in those two channels for the first few years. Waited till we got a little bit of feedback from the market with what we're doing with the product blends. And we launched, I guess, different flavor variations, I think in year 2. Then it might have been the end of year 2 or start of year 3, we launched the collagen coffee and kind of just started to take a little bit of what's happening with market trends and also listening to our own consumers.
So most D2C brands on their path into retail hit it big time in D2C, kind of get to the point where they go, actually, we're almost maxing out the market here, or it's getting really expensive for us to find new customers. We better go into retail. Was your journey that you started with that vision in D2C, but were forced to go retail, and that's what helped develop the brand to feed both channels?
Yeah, I think they kind of complemented each other, right? So everything that we did with D2C, it was kind of, that's where all the brand building was happening. So doing that allowed us to kind of open more doors into retail as well. And I think, again, being a functional coffee company back then, we were the only ones. So nobody knew what functional coffee was. So I was like, we had to make as much noise as possible online and through socials. And then we'd leverage our retail partners to do just mass samplings, like anything we could do with them in their stores or when they do stuff with gyms. It would just be cool if there's a promo opportunity where they're getting product into hand so people can kind of at least experience and feel how much better you feel taking a performance coffee than a regular coffee. But also a lot of people like, well, coffee with all of these different things, what's that going to taste like?
Yeah. And that's interesting because even in our pre-call, when you mentioned that you'd been up very early this morning, you yourself were at an early morning running event doing sampling still. So 8 years on, is sampling still the secret sauce to this?
100%. Like I think where we probably, like everyone, right? Like through COVID, everything just went quiet and then everything just went so digital. But I think coming out the other side of that, like that's just your grassroots stuff. That's where community is built. It's like we're having that product experience in like a sort of physical kind of element. It really just helps people to connect with the brand and convert as well. So everything that we're doing offline is then a focus to try to convert back online as well.
Gotcha. And it's interesting, isn't it, with your product? Because I could imagine some of the benefits that the functional part of the coffee is giving is long term. So even at a sampling event, you can sample a coffee, but you're not going to feel any of those benefits immediately. Is it purely a taste and kind of connection experience that you're after?
Yes and no. Like definitely like the taste, like having a good tasting product in, I guess, food and beverage, that's half the battle, right? So it's being there to do that. It's then having that positive brand experience for like, cool, I like what these guys are doing. They'll connect with us on socials. But with our performance coffee and stuff, especially, like you do actually feel great after you've had it.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of get that upside as well. With some of the new product lines that we're bringing out there, they're less around performance and function. Like we've just rolled out nationally 4 new lines with Woolworths, and that's going to be for a new target audience and stuff as well. So again, it's kind of back to square one, building, I guess, that facing with new consumers and doing those samplings and kind of starting over again.
What's the secret to a good sampling experience? Because I think a lot of people who are like, yeah, I know I should get my product out there more, but it's bloody awkward to do sometimes if you're not used to doing it.
Yeah.
What have you learned?
I think like presentation's one, like just being there, having the right people and like a good energy to kind of be there on the ground, building those relationships. If there's an opportunity to kind of elevate how you're setting up the brand experience. Like for many years, it was just kind of the simple, and you got to do what you can afford, right? In the beginning, it was like you have a tablecloth, just have a nice setup. Now we're trying to continually elevate what that brand experience looks like. So they kind of come across as like, well, visually to start with, like, oh, these guys look good. Like what's going on here? They'll come across like, yeah, you engage them, you're giving them a great product experience. And hopefully off the back of that, like you can kind of connect and bring them into the funnel.
I mean, you've got a perfect product there for sampling, doesn't it? Because who really wants to turn down a free coffee?
Exactly. Yeah. Free coffee signs always do the hard lifting for you.
Love it. Now, talking about expansion, going through and moving into retail, I noticed in a little bit of research that you're also stocked on Amazon. We are recording this on the 10th of July, right in the middle of Prime Day here in Australia, the 4-day extravaganza. I had a look. You are in there as Amazon's choice. So you've got the Amazon's choice sticker, but you're not discounted at all on Amazon. How do you balance both? How does Amazon put you up there and you choose not to participate in their biggest sale event of the year?
Yeah, look, it's Amazon for us right now. To be honest, it's been a little bit of an afterthought. So most of what we do, we focus on our own website and our own D2C. This new financial year is actually a bigger focus for us to start getting that up and running as they're growing. Now, up until this point, because we've mainly been based in Australia and the Australian Amazon's only starting to kind of come into its own now, but Amazon have just always wholesaled our product from us. So they'll buy the product in bulk and they'll put it up and sell it for us. We're now about to go through the process of switching and kind of owning our own D2C store and pushing that.
Okay. Why have you made that decision?
I think just as the brand's growing, like it just needs to be like multi-channel.
Yeah.
And I guess we've got other connections, I guess people that own brands and stuff, and they're starting to see the increase in Amazon as well. So it's not something that you want to forget about.
I think too, being in the, I don't know if you call yourself in the grocery, you're kind of in a mixture of grocery versus health and beauty and performance.
Yeah.
If you're not on Amazon, you could get left behind pretty easily in those quick purchase moments.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think especially of the US, right? Like when we're ready to go back over there, a product like ours fits perfectly in that market.
Have you had to make any decisions around fulfillment timeframes or operational processes to keep up with Amazon's demand for next year?
We will do. Right now, no, because we've been solely focused here. So we actually went to the US and like we did international expansion probably in year 2. We went across there. And part of that was like, well, I think every Aussie brand owner, like the dream is to kind of crack the US market, right? So, and like most Aussie brand owners, we probably did that too early. Like we tried to get over there before we had the capital behind us and we learnt some expensive lessons. But part of that was obviously setting up 3PL across there. You need to give them the brand experience because they're so used to Amazon Prime shipping and delivery. But for us now, like we shut that down through COVID just because of the logistic costs. So we've been solely focused back in Australia mainly. And when it turns to come like marketing spend, like we've just launched into the UAE, so that's starting to become a focus.
Mm-hmm.
But over the next kind of 12 months, we get the Aussie store set up, and then we'll kind of look in the back half of the year to go back to the US. I think
UAE is interesting. What was appealing about that market? Is there a trend, or is it a lack of competition?
It was interesting. So there's a Kiwi bloke that we work with. He used to play rugby in the UK and he launched Women's Best, or he helped to launch Women's Best through UAE. So he had some solid network and connections there. And he came across our brand a couple of times and he kind of just put it in front of some of the retailers over there and said, would you guys be interested in like this performance coffee company? Like coffee's blowing up over there.
Okay.
Very popular and there's very little choice. You got your Starbucks or you've got your Nescafe. Now, I guess having so many expats there as well, like I guess health and fitness is big. So he actually approached the retailer first and came to us and said, boys, love your product, love what you do. Like I've already got interest from retailers. Are you keen to have a chat? So that was a 2-year process. By the time we went through it, we only got live late May over there. So we've just launched. And we've just sent our second shipping container and we're about to kind of launch into Saudi markets and stuff as well. But again, like we're back to square one building brand and stuff over there. Plan will be to leverage some of the bigger partnerships that we now have with like kind of big brand ambassadors, Formula One, that kind of stuff, kind of help us to get some instant credibility. But also we need to work with these guys back to, I guess, grassroots. It's the product sampling. How can we make that happen in a different market?
Well, you haven't held back in terms of those partnerships with influencers. I don't think there's anything hotter than F1 at the moment. And one of your partnerships is Jack Doohan. How did that come about?
So we always had ambitions to somehow be involved with the brand in Formula One. Like, love the sport, both myself and my business partner, been massive fans, and we'd always keep an eye on the driver market. Saw what Jack was doing and had kind of seen him come through the ranks. And obviously he'd got the reserve driver with Alpine. So we always wanted to work with an Aussie driver, obviously. So reached out and he actually had a mutual connection with another guy that we'd work with. So he put us in touch and Jack loved the brand, which was cool. We just connected, got along really well and came to an agreement to kind of bring him on board.
How good. Take that, Red Bull. Have some coffee instead.
Exactly.
And what have you learned out of that process? Obviously, because I saw that you've got influencers, including local sports and athletes, but I think F1 is that next level because it's such a global sport. What have you learnt from that process around structuring partnerships and what you can realistically get out of them?
Yeah, like it's been an interesting one. So we signed on with Alpine in January as the official coffee supplier for the next 3 seasons. And probably lucky we've done 3 seasons because like the amount of teething issues that we've had just trying to like not only logistically, but they're a big company. They've had a lot of changes themselves this year, like changing team principals, Renault CEO's kind of gone. So there's been definitely a learning process into how we can kind of just get that back end working. Probably the biggest upside for us has been able to just leverage, like, hey, we are the official coffee partner of a Formula One team as we're rolling out all these new lines into retail and stuff. So as soon as we do that, it's like, well, you immediately have their attention, especially going into like your Ampol and stuff. It's like the petrol and convenience channel, like that's their audience. So it's been more so just on our end being able to leverage it through our partnerships and I guess into those retails to get the ranging.
Makes sense. How have you maximized it? So when you talk about making sure everyone knows that you're the partner of an F1 team, Alpine, have you put on packaging? Do you put on all your emails? Like, where do you actually make sure that you get the most value out of it?
Yeah, 100%. Like all of the above, right?
Yeah.
It's all of the new products you'll be able to see like on the back of one of them. So EW2 Alpine, official team supplier. So we've thrown that on the new packaging in our email signatures across our website, socials, any opportunity you kind of lean into it.
And with a beast like that, did you have to have all of that down in writing when you made that 3-year agreement?
Yeah. Like it was quite funny how it all came about. So obviously, like we signed Jack, and I was in like both my business partner and we went to Italy and were on holidays last August, September. So while we're over there, Jack had actually just got the announcement that he'd got the seat for the year. So I ended up going to Imola and did like a track testing day with him there. And then we went to the Monza Grand Prix with him. And we kind of met all of the hospitality team and they kind of loved what we were doing. And I was like, why don't you guys just do the AusGP for us next year, do the coffee? Like, yeah, sweet. Like jump on a call when we get back to Australia. So a couple of months later, jumped on a call. Like, you just want to do the whole season? Like, yeah, absolutely. And then they ended up just sending through a 3-year contract. So there was a little bit of back and forth just to kind of to tweak it and make sure everything was aligned. But mate, it happened very easy. Like we were very fortunate.
What do you think you did right for them to give that confidence?
While they're like big company, they're very much like just the connection you make with the team. Like I think we're just very aligned in terms of like our brand and them. Like they're just a young, energetic team. Like it's all about performance. Obviously, having the partnership with Jack as well, like there was a lot of synergies and stuff there. So they didn't have someone in the space, and I think it just felt like a right fit.
Awesome. What's your approach now? So if you kind of zoom out from that and you take a look at how important partnerships and influencers and creators are for before you speak, obviously you can't have everyone at a global F1 level. How do you approach partnerships when you're talking different sports, different communities, different geographies? How do you structure all that?
Yeah, look, it's been kind of an ongoing, evolving process for us because as you do bring on some of these bigger ones, it also opens up some more doors as well. So, like, we're having a lot of conversations right now, obviously trying to fit some of these big names and stuff into the budget. But the way I look at it these days is having those top tier brand relationships that you can leverage not only for, I guess, IP across things to give you credibility, bring in new audiences, but they are a really strong play for retail. Once you start going to those channels, like retailers love having, I guess, ambassadors or key people of influence to lean on for campaigns and things. So it's leaning into those top tier ambassadors for that. And then it also kind of helps to then bring on like those mid-level ambassadors that want to work with you. So I'll typically structure it like the top tier is it's less about an ROI, like digitally tracking. Like I'm not giving them discount codes. We're not like giving them links to kind of see what their attribution's like. It's really just like, cool, they're the face of the brand. Like we lean into that. And then it's those mid layer is more so the kind of, it might be cool. They might be on a monthly retainer and as well as a commission or just one or the other. or a split of them both, depending who they are. It's kind of leaning into people that kind of still have the communities, but do represent the brand and who we are and what we're doing. And then it's kind of leveraging at a lower level all your micros and nanos, and a lot of that is kind of just building community. It's like getting the UGC that you can then kind of utilize across socials for what you're doing across Meta and all those other channels.
So you're kind of splitting them up that you know that some are just going to be good for the brand, that you can attach their face to your brand and you get that halo effect. Some are great because they'll sell product directly through affiliate codes, whatever it is. And then some are there because they might not have the influence, but they're great at creating content and putting your brand up in different lights for different communities. Is that fair?
Yeah, 100%.
There's the age-old question. What is the acceptable lifespan on a pair of undies? Well, luckily for step one, they no longer have to guess. In fact, they will probably be able to spot a pair of old undies before their customers can. Klaviyo has helped Step 1, a $70 million ASX listed business, understand and action their customer data with more personalised recommendations based on the individual, targeted discounting to avoid margin erosion, and even help them monitor the growth in international customers to know the right time to expand. Last year alone, Step 1 attributed 53% Klaviyo year-on-year growth with an ROI of 65 times. I mean, if you can get those results while in comfy undies, you're really winning the game of life. To explore how Klaviyo can grow your e-commerce business and see more case studies like this, visit klaviyo.com/au. How do you approach now? Because I could imagine after 8 years, acquisition is still important and you've still got a story to tell, especially for people who might not know around functional coffee and that it actually exists and how it works. There's still a lot of acquisition there. But then for something like coffee, where it's a repeat purchase and it's a habit, retention is going to be really important for you as well. How do you balance both of those in your marketing mix?
Yeah, look, we've put a heavy focus in terms of like if we're just talking e-commerce only for a minute, we've put a heavy focus on our e-commerce platform with our subscriptions. Now, that's something we avoided in the first probably 4 or 5 years, to be honest. Like in the early days, like we put them up, we just had that much backlash from retail saying, if you guys are going to be 15% cheaper, like, well, we're not going to support the brand. So we had it there, but we had it hidden the whole time. If anyone ever asked us, we'd just send them a link. Like it was kind of an afterthought. We had very few that were actually on subscription. And it wasn't until probably a bit over 2 years now that we've actually been pushing it. So we've got such a strong subscription base. So it's leaning into that. Like we've got a very sticky product. Like again, coffee is something that's so habitual. It's like, yeah, typically if you're a coffee drinker, you're a 1 or 2 or 3 cup coffee a day. And that doesn't really change too much. So I was like, it's very predictable in terms of like, well, I know how many I'm going to go through.
Yeah.
So like our average subscriber base, I think on average, our subscriber had like 9.7 repeat orders with us at the moment.
Cool.
So when you start to get that data, it's like, well, we can lean into, I guess, putting more into acquiring the customer up front. But it's like, it's kind of, to acquire those customers, it is like, how do you bring people into the brand? And it is these sampling, it's these community-based things, these events. It's kind of just showing up week in, week out at different places to kind of meet new people and bring them into the brand, as well as pairing that with, I guess, a good creative strategy and kind of pushing across Meta.
So given that 9.7 times, that's a huge customer lifetime value, I could imagine, depending on what they're buying. How do you work out what you're willing to pay to acquire that customer for the first time, not knowing at that point whether they're going to be a subscriber or a one-off?
Yeah, I guess like you can get enough data through Shopify and some of these other tools to understand, even if you average it across all of your online customers, like, cool, well, we can afford to lose $50 or $80 to acquire the first customer or to acquire the first time purchase. And then knowing that across the average, we're still going to net at a positive.
Yeah. I like what you're doing. You've got an offer up there at the moment. I'm not sure if this is a permanent offer for subscribers where they get a free gift for the first time subscription.
Yep.
Is that something that's new or have you always had that in place?
No, like we've been running that for maybe 6 months now. And that's definitely been like, once we pulled some of this data, like, well, cool, we know how sticky it is. Let's do what we can to get them on board. So yeah, you buy a 30 cert box, which is normally $69.95, 15% off $49.45. you're then adding on like a $40 travel mug, stainless travel mug, and we give them an extra 7 serves or like a 7 serve trial pouch of that coffee. So you're pretty much buying $60, getting an extra $60 worth. And for customer acquisition, like that's been unreal for us.
Yeah, especially if you're paying a good upfront cost to acquire them, that little extra.
Yeah, and that's right. You've got to factor those cogs in as well, and like the extra shipping cost that kind of comes with that also. But it's a net positive result for us.
What about on the other end of this? I'm not sure if this is a problem for you, but do you have any flags that give you an indication of when customers are likely to churn from subscriptions? And do you have incentives to keep them in the funnel?
Yeah, like we do have obviously like a loyalty program and stuff as well. So like the longer they stay subscribed and like they've got those loyalty points, they can kind of build up and like add products to their subscriptions. The churn's typically only like if people are moving house, it's if they're, I don't know, going on holidays or something. If there's something that's disrupting routine, you'll get a little bit. But apart from that, like there's no big triggers for us, which has been good.
Yeah, it's the beauty of a routine product, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been fairly fortunate in that sense.
Love it. And did I see that you're using a loyalty line to serve all this up?
Correct. Yeah.
And that's meeting, giving you flexibility?
It's doing the job. Is there better things out there? Possibly. But like any of these things, it's like getting stuck into a bad marriage. Like, yeah. You sign up.
There's a testimonial for loyalty line. It's like getting stuck in a bad marriage. We're still here. We don't know what else is out there.
I can't talk smack about them. Like they've been fine to date. And again, like my e-commerce manager, she's way more across it than I am.
Yeah. Has there been anything in those 8 years from a on-site perspective, especially as you've focused on D2C and that is your main channel, any other tricks or hacks that you've come across in that time that have really moved the needle for you that were kind of low effort and you're like, we should have done this years ago, that have really changed the trajectory of your D2C presence?
Probably two things come to mind. One was when like we implemented like the quiz on our website. That's worked really well. Just kind of helping customers choose the right product. That's kind of got a really strong conversion rate for us. And the other is really just like it's creative.
Yeah.
And like I know lots of brands say it, and it's like I'm sitting here saying it now. Whereas like in the last couple of weeks, like we've put out a piece of creative, like that's just blown every other thing that we've done away.
What is it?
Like it's kind of it shows like the mixing of the product, but we've just then paired that with a voiceover.
Okay.
And we've actually like used AI for the voiceover. And I was like, just the voice, if it was top of mind, I'd tell you which one. Yeah. I think it's 11 Labs.
Okay.
We use for like the AI voiceover. And we've just done that. It's like, it's an Irish accent and the dude's voice is just very calm and soothing. And it was like, it is just like blown up compared to anything else. Like our new customer acquisition per day is increased 350% month on month.
Wow. And where's that running? Is that TikTok and Insta?
Just Meta.
Just Meta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Instagram, Facebook.
Did you split test all the different AI voices or did you just hit the jackpot with your silky Irishman?
Now, like we've got a few different ones running. Not necessarily on the same script, but the silky Irishman, he's the breadwinner at the moment. But again, like we've only been running it for 2 weeks, so like it's crushing. We're now kind of in the process of like building out those iterations because it's the first time like we've had a piece of creative that's just like absolutely blown the results out of the water. So knowing that, like we'll be putting a lot more effort into that moving forward.
Pretty wild, isn't it? Because it kind of bucks a lot of the typical advertising and even content principles around show faces, especially ones that people recognize, be friendly. But by the sounds of it, it's a product shot in an interesting way with a virtual voiceover. And it's
and I think like the accent probably makes it.
Yeah.
Which is the funny thing. Like there's the kind of concept for my head of creative, like where it came from is like, I don't know if you've seen, like there was some kind of fried chicken ad and they did it so it would look like there was a hair across the screen.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
So it was like people would just like get stuck on it and it was like, it just kind of like pattern interrupts a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just went nuts because like people just engage on it so much. So I was like, that kind of sparked something in what he was doing when we were kind of briefing and pulled it together. It's been interesting.
I'm doing a project at the moment to help a brand with their TikTok presence and to try and create an ad strategy for them around TikTok, because they're a very traditional brand there for the first time. And I remember just seeing their faces, because we did a workshop around who should we look to, who's inspirational here. And there were a couple of examples, and talk to Telstra, beautiful brand ads out in the market. And then you go to their TikTok and it's an absolute dumpster fire. But it works. But the best one, and if anyone's listening, you got to go check it out. The Jetstar TikTok account is absolute gold. I spent ages on there because it's exactly that. It's exactly what you said. It's the pattern interruption of, I would not expect to see that from this brand in this environment.
What do they do? Can you give?
It's honestly like they've got planes on leashes and they're like, this is how we train our planes. But everything from that to like, they really lean into the millennial trend of late 90s graphics. Like it feels like it's been done on a late 90s computer, and it's just so off-brand. Like I could imagine them sitting around a boardroom going, we can't have this, because people just won't think we're a safe airline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How did it slip?
I would not trust these people to take my family in the air if I just knew them from TikTok.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of brands doing that. Like there was, I think it was, I don't know if you've heard of a brand called Skin Daddy.
Oh,
it
yeah,
came up on my feed like 2 days ago. It was like he plays into like they've got an Indian dude that's creating these ads, and like they're ridiculous.
So good. Like there's never been a funner time, right? Especially if you've got an internal team who you can let loose. Never been a funner time to go, let's just see what works, because you've got permission to do it as a brand.
And it's interesting because, like, it's one thing, like, it's getting the views, but it's like, does it convert? I guess is another question as well. A lot of what we've done on TikTok is kind of, we've got a lot of reach from it, but like, it hasn't actually converted very well as a platform. Super interested to see, obviously, TikTok Shop when it finally gets across here, because apparently like, that's just crushing as an acquisition channel across in the US. Do you have any idea? You're probably across this more than I am.
I have spoken to a few people about it, and people like Princess Polly doing amazing things with it. And where I think it gets really interesting is that anyone can link themselves to your product feed. So you obviously just upload your whole product feed to TikTok Shop. And if I'm me and I drink your product and I upload videos and I tag Before You Speak coffee, I can get a cut of everything that gets sold from that link.
Yeah.
And you don't have a say in it.
Yeah. But how good? Like genius, right? Like it's building brands over in the States.
I know. It's amazing. And you then learn who your real influencers are.
100%. 100%.
Shopify is committed to keeping their merchants at the cutting edge of innovation. And the features released in their Summer 25 edition are no different, as they give brands the tools that they need to work smarter today and thrive in the future. For example, Shopify's AI tool Sidekick just got a lot smarter. It's able to synthesize data from multiple sources simultaneously, moving beyond basic Q&A to solve complex business challenges. They've also made scaling globally even easier with Shopify Payments. You can now manage various business entities and settle up in multiple currencies from a single store. And for in-store, POS has been redesigned, making the day-to-day experience for retail staff easier with improved search, intuitive navigation, and a more flexible cart. Check out over 150 features that have been released by searching Shopify Summer 2025 edition. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting space. Are you finding any traffic, because you just triggered me then around the difference between traffic and sales? And we just had a webinar with Lawrence from Studio Hawk, and he was showing us through some of the results that they're getting in search for some of the big fashion brands. They're saying, look, we're starting to get a lot of traffic come through from GPT, but it's actually not converting a lot to sales. There's a lot of interest and we're getting click-throughs. Have you got an eye on GPT at all, or traffic from AI?
Not really at this stage, no. Like, I think it's good to keep an eye on those things, but it's like, it's going to be probably quite a while until any of them mature enough to a stage that it's worth putting time and energy into, where we're probably not big enough to dedicate someone to go and do that. I was like, if you're a brand that's kind of really pushing all channels and exploring, it's like, well, we're just running out of places for user acquisition.
Yeah.
We're probably not quite there yet, but definitely an interesting space.
Yeah, I could imagine, especially as people are looking for health hacks and performance tuning, that it's going to come into play at some stage for you.
100%.
Tell me about your journey as a founder, because I know that you seem to be an entrepreneur at heart. You had a venture before this, and in the research, I stumbled across your 2024 manifesto,
Yep.
which you bravely put out into the world, which had some very helpful and very honest truths that you learnt from the year before. What drives you as an entrepreneur to keep doing what you do?
I think I'm just driven by progress, like driven by growth. Again, like there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs, like we've got a chip on our shoulder for some reason. And however we kind of got that there, maybe through something in our upbringing, or maybe just like there's something internally that's just driving us to want more. For me, I guess I'm no different, and recognizing that, but also kind of being comfortable with it. I guess I don't know what it is, but it's like I've looked at, like, you compare ourselves to like the biggest guys and the biggest companies. And I was like, well, sky's the limit. So that's what we want. So it probably would be way more comfortable if you could like settle for somewhere a little bit lower, you know? But it was like, we're 8 years into the journey, and it's like, it's definitely been a bumpy ride. And I guess, as you would have kind of read through some of that, it's like, we've both, myself and my business partner, we've started other companies throughout growing this. So the first 4 years, like we're kind of growing really quick with BYS. Now we'll at least kind of double year on year. In the fourth year, we put in a CEO and commercial officer, and we just kind of took a little bit of a step backwards. Like we're hiring experienced heads, right? It's like you give them the reins, like they're just going to keep going. So I went and started another tech company at the time, and we did that. Like I did that for 3 years and put 1.5 million into trying to build that and get it off the ground. It was a mobile self-checkout platform, but we're just too early in market. So that didn't work. So I closed that down in 2023, mid 2023. And I guess in that process, like we also had another business that for the first time, instead of doubling, it went backwards, 2 million rev the first year. Well, the year that we brought them in, we fired them pretty quickly within, I guess, around the 12-month mark. But then I was trying to clean up or turn around two businesses that weren't going very well. So trying to turn things around on tight cash flow was definitely a challenging time. I think I learned a thing or two around focus and not trying to do too many things at once, which is like the entrepreneur's curse, right?
Yeah.
But I think once you go through that, you spend a lot more time making decisions around whether you take on projects or start another business, because once you've learnt the downside of that and the opportunity cost of if you had to just put that into the main thing, like how much further ahead you'd potentially be, I think it's a valuable lesson.
But is that hard to do when you don't know what the main thing will be?
I think so, 100%. And that was probably why I was doing it, right? Like we weren't moving, like sure, we were still moving reasonably quick, but I was like, is this going to be the thing that gets me to the $1 billion brand kind of mark? Like that's always been the ambition. And when things are, especially when you hit a rough patch, right? It was like you start looking for answers elsewhere. But I think the question you need to ask is like, is the vehicle that I'm in the right one that can get here over time? I was like, well, coffee, how big is the coffee industry? 100% aligned, like cross that over with the health and fitness industry. You have a great product. You're in a huge market and a growing market. Like it's just time in market. Like you could look at the biggest companies, like your Nescafes and stuff, like they've been built over the last century. So for us, I was like, well, that helped me recognize we're in the right vehicle. It's just going to take longer, especially as you go into retail. Like these guys do one major range review or category review per year. You've got to get in. You've then got to get the turn rates up. You'll then next year, you'll hopefully expand a few lines, and then you kind of like it's a rinse and repeat. And then you've got to start that all over again to a new market. Like we go into the US, it'll be at least a 5 to 7 year journey to kind of build the brand over there as well.
And is there something there around making sure that you've got that base product nailed first, so that you've got that repeatable model underneath it before you go and experiment around with different messages, different products, and try and expand out? But if you've got that solid base of revenue that's coming in from recurring customers, that then sets you up to fuck around a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think you've got to have a hero product, right? Like it all comes, like you don't get to be a 9 or a 10-figure company unless you've got an exceptional product, because you won't get the repeat purchase. So for us, and I guess I'd recommend for any entrepreneur, is like find the product that works. And then it's either that may be a product that can almost infinitely scale, like you'll hit a threshold at some point. But from there, is it complementary, I guess, flavor variations? Is it something else? Like the goal is to obviously increase the gross profit per customer. So it's like, how are you going to do that? Is it going to be more of a similar product, or is there something else? Like, is there other things that can implement into their daily routine, or is it just maybe you're capped in this market, so you need to go to a different market? It's kind of just, having the right products, because that's going to keep people coming back, and word of mouth is always your best marketing tool, right?
Yeah. In your manifesto, you talk about the importance of taking big swings, which I love. Have you got any big swings coming up that you're able to share? Like, where's your vision for where you can go with Before You Speak?
100%. Like we've always wanted to be a global brand, right? And I think we started thinking small again when things aren't going well and we were going backwards in revenue. Like, it's like you almost go into survival mode. You stop dreaming for a minute, and it's like you just got to get into the dirt. But for us, like we're in a great position now. We're building good momentum. Like, we've just ranged, I guess, new lines nationally with Woolworths. So I was like, if we get that right, well, the plan will be to then become a full category solution, and then you roll that out across, I guess, the other major grocery retailers and stuff. We've got the iced latte cans, and I was like, you're not capped to where they can be. So for us, it's always like crack one of the major markets, being US or China, most likely the US, because we love it over there. Now, I guess the timing to do that's the critical thing. I think we've also learned the lessons around, like, don't try to go too early, because it can be costly. And if you don't get it right, well, again, it could sink the company as well. So for us, like, let's get the Australian market nailed in terms of like the petrol and convenience with the RTD cans, and also the major grocery with what we're doing with the new product lines. We get that right, we're a very different company in 24 to 36 months' time. That gives you the capital to kind of invest into really pushing into these major markets.
I love it. Have I got the strategy right, that it's just following the F1 circuit around the world?
Pretty much. I was like, this year, I was like, do I just go to every race? Then I was like, I may not have a company next year if I do that. So
you'll have a great year, though.
Well, I would. So we've been to, what have I done? I've done an Oz GP. Obviously, we did the activation there. Like, the first race of the year, I went and flew over with Jack and Alpine and did Japan. We were meant to do Miami, but just like the timings of things, we had a few teething issues with like the activation, what they said we could do versus the reality of what we could actually do, like with an activation in the paddock. Like, a few things were just kind of a little bit more restricted. So like, it's a big investment to take a whole team across there and try to set up activations. I think the next one will either be Singapore or Austin, most likely Austin, just because we wanted to do a US one this year. It's just like the audience that you get there, like people coming through the paddock at a US F1. It's none of the who's who. So you just never know who's, like, it's creating more luck, right? And that's kind of one of the things for me this year as well, is like, how can we just put ourselves in opportunities where creating more luck for us and for the brands? It's getting product into hands. You just don't know who you might meet. And then definitely the last race of the year in Abu Dhabi, we'll go over there, because we've obviously got the retailers we're working with over there, and the distribution will kind of lean into for some activations as well.
I love that. And I love that phrase, where can we be to just create more luck? Obviously tied to hard work, but also taking big swings.
100%. It's like jumping on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, you just don't know who might see you. And it's like, I've always avoided founder content and putting my name and face out there, just because I haven't had the ego. I was like, I don't care what people think. I'm happy just sitting behind the scenes, building the brand. Like, myself and my business partner, we're both operators. We just love being in there working. But I think, again, trying to lean into that concept of creating more luck, it was like, well, and that's another reason I moved to Sydney maybe 7 months ago. It's like, enjoy the lifestyle a little bit more. Like, I'm never going to be someone that wants to have a 4-day work week. It's like, I'm at it all the time, but it's like, down here is like, you kind of get to blend both. You kind of be down. It's like, we did that run event at 3 a.m. or 3:45 this morning. It's like, there's just more of that stuff happening, jumping on here. It's like, where's the opportunity to create relationships and potentially just have more brand touch points and just connect with more people?
I love it, mate. And we appreciate you jumping on here. You taught us a lot today. In the interest of creating more luck, if we have people who might help you create luck and want to get in touch, what's the best way for them to reach out to you and maybe learn more about Before You Speak?
Mate, probably just across socials. Like, we're most active on Instagram, I would say. Companies Before You Speak. Before You Speak Coffee on Instagram, and mine is just Jaryd Turk. Love to connect.
Mate, thank you so much. Thank you for staying awake. The 24 coffees today worked.
We got through it well. I'm surprised. Good to go. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thanks for joining me on Add to Cart.
Thank you, mate.
Oh man, I feel like my humble morning coffee will never be good enough now. That was a brilliant chat though. Jaryd's built a brand with cult status, global reach, and enough caffeine to literally fuel a Formula One garage. There's a lot to take from his journey, but here are the 3 lessons that I'm going to take home today. Number 1, sampling still works. Yes, we can get very fancy and very data-led in e-commerce, but even 8 years in, Before You Speak is showing up at gyms and run clubs with free coffee in hand. In fact, Jaryd was sampling at 3:45 a.m. on the morning that we recorded. It's about showing up and creating real-world connections with both product and brand. There's no shortcuts to that though. Number 2, the Silky Irishman. A new ad with a product mixing shot and an AI-generated Irish voiceover became their best performing creative ever, increasing acquisition by 350%. I actually got served it not long after our chat, and it was exactly as you described. It's not necessarily on brand or something they would go out and shoot themselves, but it worked. So don't snub your nose at AI content, especially when you're dealing with disposable ads. You never know what will work. And number 3, big swings pay off. Jaryd's not afraid to try new things that have big results, but don't call it luck. A casual conversation at Monza turned into a 3-year deal with Alpine as their official coffee supplier. As Jaryd said, it's about putting yourself in the position to create more luck. A massive thanks to Jaryd for bringing the energy, probably through about 6 shots of coffee, into Add to Cart today. Don't forget, if you want more of the good stuff, come and join me and hundreds of other e-com legends over in the Add to Cart community. We would love to have you in the mix. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Catch you soon. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, keep those customers adding to cart.